let's turn our cameras back on. What's going on, good people? Welcome to 5roundz. I am One Tali, Kato, Nala, OV2 Nice.
Skibbity bang, skibbity boom. It's a Friday style day.
Happy Friday, man. Happy Friday.
Before
Too early, sir.
before we start this, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. All right. Firstly, we wanted to apologize for not going live last week. It was a bit wild. I went to Dublin to see these guys, and it was a bit crazy. So we couldn't really come on the live. We were highly intoxicated. So apologies for that. We are back. We are back with a topic today. We are back. So today we're going to talk about how Western culture affected Africa. So why are we going to talk about this today? Because everything we do, everything that represents who we are is somewhat represented by some sort of Western culture. The reason we are probably doing this has probably been influenced by Western culture as well. So we want to do a brief background of how it came about. I mean, look, how it came through is not really, I wouldn't say it's good news. I wouldn't say it's something, it's something that some people don't even want to hear, but it's something some people don't know, The influence of Western culture primarily came from colonization, so it took a guy who was meant to be traveling to India to stop at Cape Town to rest, and he discovered Africa had a lot to offer, so at the time, well, now it's South Africa, but then I think it was something else. So this guy reported back. He was a Portuguese guy, I believe. He reported back. I think it was Vasco da Gama as well. Anyway, quote me if I'm wrong, but he reported back, and then came all the European countries. They split up Africa. Everyone took their spots. They sort of came up with what Africa was pretty much traditional, run by chiefs, communities, around a feeling. So it was just groups of families together as a community. That's how the African the African social structure was. But when social and political, when the colonization happened, it was more of an authoritarian way. I say, okay, you guys believe in you pray on trees. Nah, you ain't doing that anymore. You lot are gonna start praying to this guy. His name's Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And then if you didn't listen, you know how that went down. You know what I mean? But so that was the first thing. And also colonization brought globalization as well. So these guys came in, they became the governance, the political governance. They took the same structure, the missionaries, whoever they were, took the same structure that was in the West and brought it to Africa. This is why you see similarities in military, you see similarities in, the side of the road we drive on, the traffic rules, the music we listen to, the accents we have, because otherwise I should be sounding a little bit more African or something, But yeah, so we're going to get into it, guys. If you guys have more to add to this, let me know in the comments. Let me know. The first question we're going to get into is, what aspects of Western culture did we adopt it? So what aspects of Western culture did we as Africans adopt? I'll start with Mr. MP. How you doing, good sir?
Jeez, you caught me off guard there. I'm good. Well, just listen to that. Like, I think there's a lot to think about. Like, in general, like we would say, to my part, like, I think it goes down to, let's say, for example, music, right? I'm looking at it as we used to play drums, using cow skin and all that stuff. Now we had to switch up that kind of, lifestyle and make it all musical. And now all these instruments are like, electric and all that stuff. It's like we were celebrating with, just that little simplicity, right? Now,
but could you not say that changed because of time and technology?
Yeah, like I can say technology did, hit that difference. But then now you can look back to say those same drum beats and samples are now in the Afro beats. Now those kind of things, people are digging back into those kind of sounds that are really rare to like capture. So I'm just like, I think we have moved away from those kind of things, and now our music is more like the only music you can play now is
wait,
it has to
MP,
be
maybe let me ask you a direct question. What aspects of Western culture do you have?
I would say, well, everything about me is Western kind of.
If you don't get it, forget about it.
Everything about you is what?
Come on.
Repeat yourself again for the second time.
Yeah. What?
Can you repeat yourself again for the second time?
If you look at it right, for my part, I would say pretty much language. I would say everything that comes down to me is I didn't really dig up into my own mother tongue. I just kind of shifted on to just stick to one language that's universal and stuff, right? So I drifted away from everything that's authentic and to something that's really just something acceptable to everyone else. So it's not like I've been given a chance to say learn something and then kind of tell the difference of it and then choose to say, you know what, I could speak this language and I could continue this blah 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 and all that stuff, and in the world I could be respected for it and I could be recognized for it, and that's that kind of stuff. Like, so I think it starts off from my part as the language part, and then it could go to music and then go to other things. But yeah, let me not take it away from everyone else. Like,
Hold up. So definitely not Francis coming in straight away. He says he has adopted problems. Problems is all he's has adopted. Wow. We've got him saying again, look, I've come for all of them, all the problems. Is that right? Is that right? Definitely not Francis.
I think I could, on that part as well of all problems, I think now I'll tell you this. Everything that I hear sometimes to say, oh, this is African, I kind of have that thought to say, is it kind of inferior kind of thing? Like, I put something that's Western there and then the African there. And now people are starting to appreciate things like over time, but it's really tough to introduce something that's African. Everybody just says if something is labeled African, it kind of sounds like it's not top notch,
Okay.
I kind of get that to an extent. I kind of get that. I kind of understand that to an extent.
Yeah.
Even with like fashion brands, it's rare for a person to actually eat. I see what you're saying there. But yeah, it's kind of rare for like an African brand to come up and shine. It takes a lot. It takes years for them to get to the top.
Okay. Wait, guys. Why are we not mentioning these things we have adopted? The parts of the culture that we have adopted. So, what were we? What were we? I know you guys want to go straight to the these are the problems. Hold on a second. Leave the violins for a minute. What I want to know is, am I echoing, by the way?
Yeah.
I am. What's going on here? Just bear with me. What?
My laptop making noise?
No, it's fine. I'll carry on.
Right.
So, what I want to know is, think about this. How were we before, right? And how are we now?
Yeah.
And how did this affect us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
I think one of them. One of them is like just the way we dress. It's completely different from what you would say is African dress up. Okay.
Right.
I feel like we've sort of like shifted from the way Africans would normally dress, and we've adopted the Western culture into the way we dress. And we've, to an extent, also sort of like mixed them up together.
Yeah.
To create this different kind of fashion sense. So I think that's one of them. Second thing is the language thing. For me, okay, it's the language thing. I've had so many people tell me, oh, you sound so American. Are you American? There's a woman that approached me. She was like, are you from Boston? I'm like, no, I'm not. full African here. Yeah. So I think it's to do with the fashion thing, the dress up thing. It's to do with language. It's the TV shows that we watch. We've adopted that, and just the way we also react to things, I suppose.
Hold on a
Yeah.
second. Hold on a second. I've got definitely no Francis coming for me again. Okay, so
Oh no.
he says, look, we adopted music styles, and even fashion and even forms of entertainment. I don't know, Francis. You might want to I was going to say, you might want to elaborate on that, because we had music in Africa. We had rhythm in Africa before anybody else, like good music. Even.
But
Jazz,
he has a point there on the music part. I mean, like, in terms of rap, that's a Western thing.
Now
I don't think
we're looking at refined rap, isn't it? But otherwise, the birth, like music itself, the rhythm of music, I mean, Africa got a big contribution.
But he said we adopted music style.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me
What
think.
up, True City
on
fans?
the fashion, on the fashion, I agree.
Did I catch you there, sir?
On the fashion,
on the fashion over here.
I can agree. I can agree on that, because, for example, let's say, okay, this is now. Can you remember the time where I can remember the time that if I had to walk outside my house in a skinny, ripped jean, I think my parents would think they need to bring me to the mental hospital.
But your ancestors used to walk with no underwear. Huh?
No, of course, they used to walk with no underwear, right? Okay, then they had to cover up. But for you to put on a jeans that is ripped all over the place, it was like, is everything okay up there? It's probably a person who's mad in the streets that wears clothes in tatters. Wow. But now we've adopted that, it's style. You can put on that and
but
it's style. Now it's style.
Okay. I remember
I'm telling you,
skinny jeans actually came to Malawi and guys were wearing them. Everybody was like, what is going on there?
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden everybody was wearing them and it was just a normal day.
It's style, So
would
fashion,
you say would you say it's brought about the social acceptance, like the increase of social acceptance? Because then if like more of back then African, it would be more of you would say, the people say don't do this, don't do that, then I'm not going to do it in that sense. But now it's like, freedom, you've got all these democracy and stuff, and then you're like hitting stuff to the extreme. Now you're like, I can express myself in so many ways and all of that stuff, right?
Okay.
Another example, the fashion we talked about it, I think, when we were talking about what were we actually talking about, when you were saying that you remember there was a time where a person to come in our country, let's say before the land, they had to put on something that is below the knees, which was it was a culture thing. It was a culture thing. You're dressing up, you're a woman.
Yeah, but that dress, where did it come from? The dress that you're talking about.
The dress came from, of course, from Western, but before that we had something which we call in Chichewa we call chitenje, okay, which was a form of a dress.
We didn't have that. That came from the West. That came from the West too. Go on. But
it came from the West of being a cloth material, rather than when, let's say, it was animal skin back then, where they have to wrap themselves up with animal skin, or if they're gonna make it from plants, trees, and then actually make a cloth that they can wrap themselves. Then came the material of a cloth to say, oh no, can't do that anymore. You guys are not well civilized. You can't be using leaves to cover yourself, or animal skin. You'll be covering yourself.
So leaves and animal skin, I agree. Yeah. And then they brought in cotton, of course. They brought in cotton. They're like, this is cheaper. Yeah, this is better.
But we had cotton. They took the cotton from us, processed it, came back and sell us.
Which is why I was asking about the aspects we adopted. What are these things that we adopted? I think you've gone into the why this has happened. It's the things that we adopted. Let me get into the comments real quick. So Mr. True City Fan said, what's up, panel? What's going on, True City Fan? Definitely not Francis says Untitled ghetto mic though. I'm like, come on, bro. I've got a condenser mic. What you got, fam? You know what I'm saying?
But it is ghetto though.
How is it ghetto? Huh?
What's with the echo?
There ain't no echo. I don't hear the echo.
Okay.
What echo? I tell you
Still
what.
ghetto.
No,
I'll
that
tell you
was before.
I tell you what,
No.
my mic's worth more than your camera, fam. You know what I'm saying?
You wish. It's still ghetto.
Okay.
Still ghetto.
Definitely not. Francis says hip hop wasn't really something we did. And think about it. Remember when we all looked like Soldier Boy at one point? That's just you, fam. I didn't have those crazy
Soulja
glasses
Boy, tell
with
him.
Soldier Boy. No, I didn't do. That's just you, bro. That's just you.
I
Or
think
even
about the baggy pants and the
the
baggy
Kanye glasses. The baggy pants. Okay, the baggy pants, fine. The ones with the writings on them.
I
The
think I've
Kanye
seen.
glasses.
It's either I've seen True City Fan
True
or
City Fan.
yourself, Montali.
True City
With
Fan.
the
True City
Kanye.
Fan. It was True City Fan, not me. It was definitely True City Fan. I wish we had True City Fan. Please send us that photo of you with the Kanye glasses, bro.
Those were
He's
the
probably
ish,
he's
man.
probably deleting it from his Facebook right now.
Those were the ish.
So definitely not. Francis says bring in high value American boy from space. I don't know what you mean there. I don't know what you mean. Okay, sir. Maybe he's talking about Soldier Boy. Look, the aspects we adopted. One of the first things that we were supposed to adopt was the structure. So the social structure in Africa. So the way things run, as I said before, is you had a chief or you had a king and queen or whatever it was, and then you had a tribe, right? And people lived in somewhat harmony. But when colonization came, it was almost as if this group of people came and saw what we had and said, look, you guys are not civilized. That was like, you're not civilized. Look at me, I've got clothes on, you guys don't wear clothes. Do you know what I mean? But who cares? If I'm happy, that I'm arguing on behalf of the African. If I was thinking to myself, if I'm happy, why do I need to adopt what you're saying? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you guys are not civilized. Look at me, I've got good clothes. Do you know what I mean? You guys don't use money, or the way you trade is old fashioned. Why don't you use money? You understand? So these are some of the things that we adopted early because we were trading. We were trading straight away. We were using barter trade to trade for anything. You would even trade your cattle for a wife. That this is why people still do dowry till today. Because that was the way you did things. That is the way you did things back in the day. So
you hear that one time? No, not one time. MP. Keto.
Oh wow! So yeah, I mean the things we adopted. I think there's a long list. Today we adopted a lot of things, technology, all these things, because I think Africa is like one of the biggest consumers of everything. Like, we're Nokia's biggest customer. We're one of Toyota's biggest customers. So we still adopt. What I wanted to ask is the next question: is this adopted culture beneficial or detrimental? Detrimental to African culture. Let me start again. Is this adopted culture beneficial or detrimental to African culture, traditions, social standards, and economic status? So what I'm trying to say here is, what we adopted, did we benefit from it, or were we better off without it? Who wants to go first?
I think I'll go first. I think to an extent we did benefit from it because even though it led to stuff like corruption and whatnot, it led to greed and whatnot, but to an extent we did benefit from it because we learned a lot. We were able to be diverse and let other cultures come in and teach us things, okay, and how we can improve ourselves. But then to an extent, on certain aspects like sexuality, I feel like the concept of sexuality has changed so much in our culture. The desire to just be so Western and to introduce certain things into our culture has kind of brought about promiscuity within Africans. But to an extent.
You said it was beneficial, though.
Well, I did, and I told you why I thought it was beneficial.
What makes you think? What makes you think the promiscuity wasn't there back in the day? Because back in the day, it was as easy as "you're my wife," yes or no. You know what I'm saying? It was there necessary.
Yeah, but But right now it's completely different. Right now there's like so many diseases going around.
There were
So
no diseases then.
not to this extent.
My friend.
Not to this extent.
There's King Swati in Lesotho there. King Swati has many wives. Do you know what I mean? Many wives.
I understand that.
Are you saying
I
that there were no...
understand that, but that's not what I mean when I say sexuality. There's certain things that we do that is detrimental, i.e., pornography. We didn't have that before. Did we?
We didn't need it. We didn't need it because people didn't have clothes.
But it's there now. It's there. And it's detrimental to our kids. It's detrimental to people's mental health.
This is true. Okay, but is pornography a Western thing, though?
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to start blaming pornography on...
How are we blaming it? You asked me a question and I'm replying. How's that blame? That's me telling you that, yeah. So I think to an extent it is detrimental. It is to an extent.
All right, cool. Let me just dip in the comments real quick. Guys in the comments, let us know what you think, to be fair. Like, do you think do you think the culture we adopted, the Western culture we adopted, was it beneficial to us or was it detrimental to us? You know what I mean? Did we benefit from it or were we better off without it? Let us know in the comments, guys. And for the guys that will be watching this later, let us know. And the guys who will be listening to this stream, we want to know what you guys think. Let me get back to Mr. Oh my gosh. So Mr. Definitely Not Francis says, look, hip hop wasn't really something we did. And think about it. Remember when we all looked like Soulja Boy at one point? Oh, okay. I read this one actually.
Mm-hmm.
He said, bring in, okay, I read that too. He says, look, no, that dude who went at Nessa and Yukai in the Twitter space, Mr. What do you... Mr. What do you bring to the table other than your looks? Oh my god. Okay, so you want me to bring in Haha, yeah? Okay, Haha's gonna come. Yeah, just to... Oh man, there's a menace on Twitter spaces for people that don't do Twitter. There's a guy, an American guy, he's looking for an African wife, so let us know if he's looking for an African wife. And he jumps in on Twitter spaces, just checking on people to see what kind of woman he wants, and he asks questions like, what do you bring to the table? He's a very straightforward guy. Says he earns about $200,000 per year or whatever it is, but we haven't seen the pay slips or the receipts. So.
I think he's capping.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I said it live. I think he's capping.
How do you know it's capping? Did you check his pockets? How do you know?
Or did he show us the receipts?
Jesus is Lord.
Wow.
Oh man.
Dude could be serious, guys.
Definitely, though, Francis, I am doing that.
Says clip that you guys are uncivilized and post it on Twitter. Get one tally trending. Wow. You know what? Once we get off this, I'm coming for you, bro. He says clearly one tally didn't adopt English. Oh my god. But you didn't adopt a good name either, definitely not, Francis. You know what I mean? Jesus, this guy. Yeah, so getting back.
I think you guys need a room.
Apparently.
Get a room, man.
Yeah, get a room.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Pause. Anyway. Anyway, guys, Ovi, man, I want to know, Mr. Ovi, too nice, Mr. What it do, what it does. Yeah?
What it do, what it does. Better be boom.
Before we hear your views, guys, anyone who is new to this channel, is it just me, or can you hear the plane that's flying here? You know what I mean? All right, it's just me. You can't hear it.
I can hear it as well.
You know what I mean? Like, I get on this podcast, and then everybody wants to come out. Every dog and their mom wants to bring everybody out. You know what I mean? No, it's not you, MP. Don't worry. It's me.
I'm trying to figure out if the plane's
I actually thought it was MP, eh?
Nah, it was
no way. Where MP lives?
Somebody's probably like they're live right now. They're live right now. Okay, so Mr. Ovi, too nice, huh?
Yes, me, sir.
Let's ask you this question, sir. So this culture that we have adopted, is it, in your own view, is it beneficial or is it detrimental to African culture? Yeah. So all these things that you have adopted, the nice headphones you have there, the hairdo that you got there, the clothes
Exactly.
you're wearing, all these things, is it beneficial or detrimental to African culture?
Me, I think it's beneficial to the African culture because
Yeah.
it sets standards in a day-to-day living. Okay, so and
Wait.
Well, let
You
the
tried
man
with
land.
it before?
well, the way of living, because look, the way we were living, everyone was just, it was just normal. It was I could say maybe it was what is so
You mean it was
carefree as
boring?
much, huh?
You mean it was boring, was it?
Pretty much, it was boring. It was
Oh
boring
wow,
because it was
go for
like,
that one.
mm, no, pretty much. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean it that way. If that's the right way, yeah. We lived just a life where everything was just follow one set of rule. We're just gonna be following this way.
Mhm.
There's no different paths
How do you
where
know
we
that?
can.
How do
I
you know
know
that?
that. Okay, for example, what you just said there, right? For example, you said it was a chief, and this is how
Mhm.
things are run. If we want
Mhm.
to settle an argument, it's the chief. If everything is the chief, okay, we want to. Hmm?
But don't we do that now? Don't we
We
follow
do.
a set of rules set by
We
a
we
certain
we
group of people, led by
we,
one person normally?
we do. But at that time, the whole continent or the whole country had the same set of rules to that we follow it in this way.
Not exactly. Not exactly.
What?
People ran things differently. There were some that had kings and queens. There were some that had chiefs. There were some that would just run their own families. There were nomads. There were Kenyans, nomads. The what are they called? Maasai tribe, right?
Mm.
They would just up and leave. They would just do whatever they want, up and leave. They were not ruled by anybody. They didn't take rules from anyone. So, but then,
Still beneficial. That's my view. Still beneficial. I'll give you an
absolutely,
example. Like,
I
look, if it was then, if I didn't adopt this hairstyle that I got, this
agree.
Shabadoo dreadlocks, you know, but back then, if my mom see me with this kind of hairdo, the first thing everybody's gonna say is, "Sha, prodigal
Badu.
son." Yeah,
For,
prodigal,
for.
What?
prodigal child, prodigal child. Mwana olowerera.
That's
That's not what that means,
not
sir.
what that means.
That's not what that means.
You get
It's
it?
Okay,
actually the other way
eh,
You don't
around,
get
sir.
it, bro.
okay, okay. Child of enter. Child of enter.
Ah,
I'm just embarrassed for you right now.
ah.
Oh my
Epic
gosh.
fail.
All right,
Epic
all
fail,
right, all right.
sir.
But now
Oh,
we adopted this. It's beneficial now that everyone can do that. You can live freely. You want today to go and have your hair dyed green. It's okay. It's all right now. No one is gonna look at you and say, this one. That's it. You know.
it's finished.
Yeah, it's
That.
finished. He's a child of enter. You know.
Ah.
But now it's beneficial because it also told us that no. There are certain things they don't have to be judged, or because someone has done this, it means
Mm.
this. No. They kind of taught us that freedom to say that don't judge a book by its cover. Pretty much. We had that moral. We judge a book by its cover. Look at them and say, oh, straight away, this is blah blah blah.
Oh my days.
You know.
This is no Francis says child of enter. Put that on the 5roundz hoodie. You know what? We might just do that. We might just child of enter.
And Ovi, you're wearing that
Mana
hoodie.
olo elera.
Hey, no, and Ovi, you're wearing that hoodie. You're gonna be the ref
We
for
get
that
it.
hoodie.
If you don't get it, forget about it.
Okay. Look, okay. Let me go around first. I'll go around the panel so I know how you guys feel about this. And guys in the comments, please help us on this one because do you think it was beneficial to us or was it detrimental? Guys in the comments, do you think we benefited from being colonized influenced by the West or not. Please, this is an open forum, guys. All right, so anyone can give their opinion on this one. Mr. MP, tell us.
Well,
did you benefit or not?
you know what? I think first of all, what I'd like to say is I couldn't believe something that I just learned today is that about 62 countries celebrate Independence Day from, the United Kingdom. For what
Correct.
reason? Like in the world, you're supposed to just be free, right?
Mm.
Like, for what reason should you be celebrating freedom when you were born into a world of freedom and all that stuff? And so it clocks to me to say that we benefited and we didn't benefit in a way, because now we're looking at 62 countries. Every year they spend millions just to celebrate this day because of one country that doesn't have an Independence Day, right? It's I really don't get it.
Yeah.
So if we're going forward now, we're looking at let's say politics. I would say, all right, fine. They brought in democracy and all that stuff. It is very interesting that people can express themselves and look at different things in different way and be able to say, I've got a freedom of speech. How far are we taking that? I think right about now, Africa still needs some dictatorship in a way, because freedom of speech doesn't really fit in, at some extent, because we need to break free from a certain barrier of economic, troubles. Because people say, oh, I don't want to pay for this. It just has to be strict to say you have to pay for the roads so that we can have better roads. We have to pay for the hospital insurance so that you can get treated fairly. You have to get certain things, but people say I'm not going to pay for that. So now the government has to find so many ways to pin you down so that they can actually extract a little money off you. So now you're looking at taxes going up and all that stuff, because we have people that are saying no. Free speech, I think people now, they're getting smarter and smarter, I would say. When we got technology coming into play in Africa, I think the moment that we adopted to technology, anything that you would miss out in the world, you're gonna catch it. If if someone else is lying to you, you're gonna catch it real quick. It's not like, oh, if you cross that river, you're gonna die. Someone else has already tweeted about it to say, oh, I was there last week and I met so and so and stuff like that. It's created it's given you eyes in places that you would never step into. So it's a very interesting thing. And I feel like now with everything, there's a pressure of social media. Now we're more of, I think, now that we see a lot of people traveling around the world and all that stuff, so many things in Africa has gotten into more materialistic kind of interest. People are now functioning on that. We spend a lot of money just trying to look like Western people, while we can pretty much look so simplistic. And I've seen other countries just putting on saris and all that stuff, and it makes a huge difference. They don't have to invest in a lot. If you want to look like the king, that's all up to you. You know what I mean?
So you think they don't invest a lot in wearing those saris? You think they don't invest
it
a
depends,
lot in getting the
because
best material?
The pressure is there as well to put on the gold kind of looking sari. That's like you're celebrating your wedding or whatever and stuff like that for the
that's
occasion.
expensive as well.
It is, but then it comes to a part where everyone else can produce that kind of thing, right? But if you're putting things that cannot be produced in your own country, then the West is very smart at that, because they extract stuff from, Africa, and then they put it over in the West, and then they, make it very expensive. Now they put it back on the market. Now we can't even afford anything now, So it's very difficult now. Our own stuff is more expensive than ever. So if we could produce something, if we could have the technology to produce that, maybe we could be somewhere. But I think we've gotten more intelligent, so we're better now. We're better, but worse.
So obviously it's beneficial. You say, because you said it was there are pros and cons to it. So now you're saying you're leaning more towards the beneficial side.
I think I'm leaning to the beneficial of now you can think is now you can, reason in so many areas that this is good for me and this is not good for the society, So if it's not good for you and it's not good for society, there is a chance of change, but there has to be, it is so rigid to say we have to press on it. And then that's the difficult part. Now people are like so resistant to everything. Before they weren't,
I hear you.
Yeah. Sorry about the ranting, yeah. That's just I was in my own world.
You were in the zone. You were in the zone, man. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Nala, everyone is on this beneficial tip. So everyone says, oh, it's beneficial. Adopting Western culture benefited us. We needed it, right? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think we needed it or not?
Yeah, like what MP and Ovi said, we definitely needed that. Even to this extent, if I know Francis is going to come at me for this one, but I've had this discussion with MP before where we talked about how Africa still needs that dictatorship. Africa still needs to be controlled in a way so that we know how to use our resources. There's just too much freedom given to certain people, right? And they just end up destroying the whole country on its own. So to an extent, yes, we definitely benefited from the Western culture because we benefited in so many ways in terms of music, in terms of the way we express ourselves when it comes to art, in terms of just being able to think outside of the box.
Okay.
So I agree with these guys, but to an extent as well, I think it's detrimental. Like I said with the porn thing, I'm both ways.
Is this all we're going to? We keep going to this porn thing. What's going on there, man?
Emotional, damn it! What's up with you and porn? Why do you hate porn?
Wow, it's just something that I read up.
Hold on, let her finish.
Yeah, it's just something that I read up on, and I thought it was interesting because, to an extent, like back in the day, I don't think back in the day before we got colonized, I don't think there was pornography. So, like, it was introduced from.
Let's not think that there wasn't pornography because we know. No, hold on. We know back in the day. So, if back in the day. The slave master could use the slave as his personal concubine. What stops that person from having live
performing live
in front of him? What is stopping him from having that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then that's when the Western actually came to Africa. Come on, that's when it all came to Africa. But prior to that, I don't think there was pornography. Was there?
We didn't have the technology.
Maybe we didn't know.
Technology.
Maybe we didn't
know.
That
one, I think we should.
That one, maybe try and prove it because let me try.
I'm still sticking to my guns and saying that was detrimental.
Okay.
That was one thing that was detrimental to Africans.
No, one thing we have adopted that is Halloween.
No, but I don't know. Like I feel like it was there. Like when Tali said, it was there. King Swati has 8 wives and stuff like that, right?
But it don't mean he's acting porno.
Right. For someone else,
you don't know how the man gets down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't.
Ain't nobody know.
He's got all that wealth behind him.
I completely disagree.
All right, okay, let's walk away from that one, and
yeah, let's walk away from that one.
Run. I bet MP, why should you run away from this one? No,
I know, man. I know. Look, let me get back to the comments, then I'll tell you what I think. Guys that are watching, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. All right, we're gonna start doing certain things for people that are subscribed. We're gonna start giving away merch. We're gonna start doing things that are exclusive to subscribers because it's not fair if people are supporting us And then the people that are not supporting us are getting the prizes, man. So guys, make sure you are subscribed, all right?
Get in the
Yeah,
comments.
because trust me, this show is not just, it's for you guys, man. It's for you guys. So subscribe, man. Damn. You know what I mean?
You get it?
So
Oh wow.
You get it? If you don't get it, forget
Oh
about it.
god.
okay, back to what we were doing. So definitely not Francis says people flying out of Dubai and stuff. I don't know what you meant there. And it says, yeah, but yeah, the best thing that's come from the West is the ability to access information. But what we do with it is up to us. Okay. Bloom says, I come in and porn. Please update me. Bloom, we're not just rewind the video. Bloom, come on. And then she says, look, Bloom says she's right though. Vanessa's biggest fan, honestly. Or Nala's biggest fan, sorry. Bloom says she's right though. The Roman Empire invented porn. I have no facts to prove this.
So, do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
But finish that statement though.
All right. I have no facts to prove this, but the orgies that King Swati was hosting was inspired by Caligula. Okay, that's fine. All right. How can you prove it? Anyway, let me get back. Everyone here keeps saying, "Oh, it's good." Ever heard of something called Stockholm Syndrome? You know, where you're so used to your oppressor that you're like, "This is good for me," right? What if I told you that all of you have that right now, right? Because you don't know what could have been. You know, nobody here really thought of who we were. Because think about it. Where did civilization start according to history? Egypt.
What's that? I think
Egypt.
Was it not Mesopotamia?
Oh my gosh. Egypt. Where was the first language?
What?
Hey, but you're trash, fam.
Iguburo.
Where was the first irrigation system?
The
Iguburo.
Nile River. Yeah.
So if we had all these things as a community without Western interference, don't you think we could have figured it out? Like we could have advanced as a culture, as nation, as people? Because let me tell you something, right? There was somebody called Shaka Zulu, who today people say is murderous, dictator, whatever. Okay, fine. What I admired about Shaka Zulu is one man who was a bastard, right? Went to a village and said, I'm taking over your whole gaff. I'm your leader right now. You're going to listen to me and we're going to do it the way I want to do it, right? I'm the king, whatever. That was not the most impressive thing. The most impressive thing was how he fought his battles, because he was such a soldier. He had tactics, you know, like when tactics were never there. This guy had battle tactics. So when the West came, you know, the wars that you heard about, the Zulu wars, whatever it is, when they came, they were surprised at the tactics that this guy had. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like given time, we would have had our own technologies. We would have had our own way of thinking, our own social structures, our own riches, and our own way to process raw materials. But somebody who was probably ahead or thought they were ahead or was thinking ahead said, look, fam, I could do better. Listen, what you're doing there, forget about it. How many times have you been on a path and thought, this is the right path for me? And somebody comes and says, no, this is not the right path for you. You're not civilized. Why are you doing that? Go and do this. Do you know what I mean? And for 200 years, that's what that person is telling you. What you start thinking is, you know what, this is actually good for me, because for 200 years, you've been telling me this is good for me. So I say it was more detrimental than beneficial, because at the end of the day, Africa is the world's biggest consumer. Tell me 5 things that Africa produces without needing a factory somewhere outside of Africa. Do you know what I mean? 5 things. Tell me how many countries in Africa have a strong economy, strong enough to battle the big economies. Yeah,
Big 8 or something like that.
Oof. It's quiet now, isn't it?
Man, that's a those are points, man. Those are points. I'm shocked. I would say, Stockholm Syndrome really is a major thing. Like now I'm thinking about it, is there are a couple of stories that I know that, you know, bringing on the show would really kind of be like, oh, that's conspiracy and all that stuff. But then when you think about it, you would say, if you own the thing and you give it to someone else, and then they come back with it, and then they double the price or whatever, they create something that's not of value. You're sitting on that thing for so many years, and someone else says, this is what you have to value. Because to me, I think there's no use of trying to make gold be gold, diamonds be diamonds, they're like this is stuff from the ground. I would say value something that's really, really out there. But then at the same time, we're trying to put value to something to say, this is what we exchange with, blah, 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 and all that stuff. There is someone else that created that, but as we traded with a cow for your wife. So I wouldn't trade my wife for a cow.
Well, look. Obviously, these things were going to get better as we went, because, even today, in today's age, did you hear about this female chief in Malawi who totally eradicated all these practices that were oppressive to women and girls and all of this? For those things to happen, it's not Western culture. She's still adopting African culture, Malawian culture as well, but is using a bit of that Western influence, the human rights influence, and bringing it into what she believes in. So I feel like, look, we were intelligent enough to know what's right, what's wrong. We were intelligent enough to run ourselves. That's what I think.
Do you want us to go back?
But I think we were not strong enough to stand still, to hold our ground. Because let me tell you something, right? If we're all a African continent and the majority of the continent has gone, do you know what? It's fine. I'm going to become a Christian now. I used to praise that tree over there, but now I'm going to become a Christian. What do you think the rest of Africa is going to do? It's either they'll go in hiding, they're going to get shot, and that's the way. This was not.
Happened.
Trust me. Right now, we're talking about it lightly. It wasn't a light conversation. It's either you convert or we kill
or
you,
you're losing your arm,
or we sell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that simple. I just want to jump in the comments because a lot of people are going nuts in here, man. Honestly. So. Oh my gosh. Bloom says, look, no, actually, that's not the one. She says, guys, I'm not up to par. Forgive me. I'm not coming with facts, but Africans do have Stockholm Syndrome. This is a fact. This is how slavery went on for so long, because the victims saw benefit in being one. This is not a blaming show. Funny enough, we did some victim blaming last week, or the week before. This is not a blaming show. We're not here to blame anyone. We're just looking at how we got here, and sort of exploring, because it's important to explore, like, okay, what could we have been, or who are we? I think it's not a matter of saying, oh, no, you did this, you did that. That stuff happened in the past. You know what I mean? It's about realizing now, what can we do for ourselves? So good comment there, Bloom. Denise Anthony, welcome. She says, look, make sure you're subscribed, by the way. She says, look, I think it's made people too sensitive whilst brainwashing us to not be true to ourselves.
True. True.
Because
why are you saying?
What Johnny kind of disagrees with that statement.
I actually do agree with the statement. I'll tell you why, right? How many times have you met someone, especially in Malawi, right? For guys that don't understand the language, especially in Malawi, you've got someone who doesn't know English, but is trying to speak English to the bit, like Velson bands. You know what I mean?
One Tali, man.
One Tali, man.
It's one Tali.
But if I come here and say,
out of here.
But if I come here and say one Tali, how many people are gonna be like, hey, no, and especially when you're hitting on a woman in your own language, say for example, any woman, Malawian women, tell me one sexy Malawian word. One. There isn't one. Not even one, right? There isn't one. See? Did that sound sexy? It's because what? Culture tells us. What he said there says your ass is sexy. That sounds nice in English. But what he said in our language, it's like, yeah. So it just proves the point there. Like, we sort of shifted. And Bloom says feeler. You see, feeler, but feeler is English,
Exactly, Bloom. That's English.
I feel you. So Let's see. Definitely not. Francis says there's a difference between Stockholm Syndrome and adapting. For example, we can learn from other nations and use them to improve ourselves. But definitely not, Francis. When a gun is at your head and your own, so your people from your own nation have already turned on you and given you up. Are you telling me you're gonna sit there and say, yeah, this is a good thing to adopt? Yeah, absolutely. I need to adapt. Yeah.
Wantali, do you think that we didn't learn, like adopting some of those things? We didn't learn, like we didn't improve ourselves.
We were told what we need
Like
to be.
I get one
how we need to
saying
act.
that, because then it's just like when you go visiting someone else's home, like they can cook something in a certain way, and you just learn from that. And it's not like you're going to change everything in your house and say we're going to have this, utensils. You're going to have this, blah blah blah. No, it's just that you go and say, oh, that's lovely, and we're going to do this. So if you're going to say adapt, and then you want to make it big, adapting is just one little tiny thing. But then when you're forced into something, man, you can't walk away from that one.
Absolutely. So definitely not. Francis says exactly. For example, that lady chief shows you that she can adapt. She can adopt and adapt. Okay, that's true. But how many? Like I said, definitely not, Francis, you're nitpicking. I asked you, right? How many products do we export as a nation? You know what I mean? How many that are beneficial to the rest of the world? How many products do we develop? Do we have the factories for these products that we have? And then think about how.
Wantali, you can't really say that statement because there's so many factors that come into play with that.
Oh, right. Like what? We need a factory.
Corruption. There's so many factors that come in.
Wait a minute.
Then you're saying that.
When did corruption come in place anyway? When did it start? Like, if you're going to say corruption, what's the history of corruption?
No, but then you're saying that, what is it that we produce and some other countries can take from, and actually what we produce outside of our country. And I'm telling you that if it wasn't for stuff like corruption, we would be producing so much more.
That's not true. The rules, like I just said, let me get back to what I just said. Look, you know the purpose. You do know the purpose of colonization, right? You know why.
Yes.
You know why? Okay, maybe tell me. Let me know, because let me know.
But everybody knows why.
Okay,
we know the purpose of it.
What was the purpose?
You tell me. Because everybody knows.
No.
It's resources, power, and
correct.
Yeah,
resources. That was the main part. That was the main thing. Okay.
But if you have people who are corrupt, how are you going to use those resources?
How did we have people that were corrupt at that time? How can you prove that? How can you prove at that time we had people that were so corrupt that we couldn't produce our own resources?
Okay,
we couldn't manufacture our own. I just gave you I just gave you an example of Egypt, irrigation, the language itself. I don't want to mention it because I always butcher it, right? The pyramids, these things are still being used. They're being used as examples today. So you're telling me that if Egypt could do that, you're telling me little Malawi couldn't do something about that? Do you know what I mean? Like eventually? Or Nyasaland, whatever it was? Because I'm telling you, man, you're talking about this corruption. Corruption is everywhere. We've spoken about this before. Corruption is everywhere. But when, like MP said, like somebody came, saw the materials that we had, looked at the system we had and thought, how do I control these people? I know you're not civilized. Your life's primitive. I've got everything you need, and I'm going to give it to you right now. I'll give you the first thing free. Don't worry. You want clothes? It's free. You want this? It's free. The next time, hey, but what about more clothes? Hey, you have to buy. You have to pay for these clothes, my friend. I have to go all the way back to where I'm from, bring you these things. You know what I'm saying? That's how it started. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have enough money. Okay, just tell me, in that other village, that friend of yours, he's got gold, isn't he? Yeah, he's got gold. I'll tell you now. Oh, there's that corruption right there. There's that corruption. You know what I'm saying? So, look, I'm telling you now, Nala. I'm telling you now, we would have been better off. I think we would have been better off. But hey, it's opinion. It's opinion.
See, you're just talking about clothes. I remember one time I bought a a long sleeve, I don't know, a t-shirt or something like that over in South Africa, but it was made in Malawi. And then I said, how is it possible that these guys are selling it here instead of selling it back home, you know? And it kind of just shows that inferior kind of like state that we have on to say, you know, we can only shine when we out of the state. We can't really shine when we're within, because our own people would actually just know, you know, they would not really respect us because it's not from the West. It's not from anywhere but but home. Instead of promoting the stuff that we have on, we're always looking into buying stuff from, like, you know, abroad. So yeah, that's a very, very tough one. Life is tough, yeah.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Nada, any comments?
No, none at all.
All right. Guys in the comments, please let us know what you think. Do you think that we benefited from this or not? I know I threw a spanner in the works. I'm not trying to be a Black Panther up in here, but I want to give a little bit of balance. I don't want to just sit here and say, oh, I'm going to tell you right now, yeah, you know, Western culture, yeah, well, it's dope. It's something that we know, isn't it? It's dope. But then when you look back and think about what if, you know, I could have been bloody Prince Hakeem. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Hey, I've got royal blood. What do you say? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a banger. It's a banger. That is true.
Prince Hakeem. I'd have had many cows. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see what you did. All right, we're gonna finish this off with one more question. Are we so with the cultures that we've adopted Western culture? Yeah. Are we still preserving the culture we have? So are we still able to identify our authentic and untethered cultures? If yes, please provide examples. If no, tell us why not. Who wants to go first?
Oh, he's been a little quiet.
Yes.
I've been thinking because, you know, this is a very educating topic. It's a very educating topic.
It is.
Are we still able to identify our authentic, like, well, pretty much side of it? Yes, I think so. It's coming back. It's coming back.
So what the question here is saying that, look, okay, even if we've had Western influence, is there in our culture, are there certain things we have preserved to say, hey, you know what, I'll adopt everything, but this I'll
tell you this, there is, and I'll go back to music, Afrobeats, it's pretty much infused, like it's pretty much filtering every kind of like lifestyle in Africa, and then putting it together. All those beats you can relate to some certain tone, like beat to that song, right? And then on top of it, the dances that are like showing up, you can see them on TikTok, you can see them on, like, you know, Insta and stuff like that. We're still bringing up the African dances. We're proud of those dances, and now the world is catching up to those dances, and now it's our time to more like we're shining to the world, because that was dances were more of something little of we gained independence, celebrating, you know. So we now dancing to like we're happy, we're like, you know, coming out to the world, like, you know, we're proud of our, you know, African heritage, we're proud of all this. I think, yeah, we've gotten to that extreme now that we're well able to express ourselves, and there's more in tune to say we're preserving those dances, and we kind of showing the art of it. And I can see like a lot of people, like for example, if trying to remember, baseline, is it baseline clothing? He's bringing back, like, you know, there is that
base Africa. Yeah. Shout out Chris, man.
Yeah, there is that, you know, proud of, you know, African heritage, and adding on that to the fabric and showing that, you know what, we still got this. You know, no matter how you can change the fabric to whatever it is, we're still going to add up a patch of our own, you know, pride, and all of that we're going to show. We're going to keep on showing it until that you understand that we're still growing stronger and stronger. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
this is good. I think it's a good point to it's a good point to bring, because what you're saying is we have that core of our culture, but then we are also not afraid to adopt the culture or to adapt, as Mr.
Yeah.
Francis said, and modernize
point.
it. And
Me, I think-
modernize. Go on, Mr. Obi.
Me, I think maybe I think certain values, like for example, respect, things that we've always had that I've noticed in Western culture don't ever exist, to the point that even no, I swear, like for example, I'll give, like, if you see an African child that was born in the Western world,
Yeah.
doesn't have the same morals as me, a person who was born in an African world culture. For example, quick,
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
what I mean?
Francis said it here, but go on, carry on.
For example, quick example, I can say, as we can see it here, we know for a fact that it's always something that we always keep, no matter what, because it was if it had to be bet into you, it had to be bet into you that you 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 have to respect. You have to respect an elder, by all means. That's a culture thing that we've always had, and I think most, not everyone, but I think a higher percentage of African people that are born in Africa still keep that value, that they don't try to adopt to the Western one, to say, no, I'm going to walk out here and see this elder person and say, oh yeah, use this, and disrespect him, that kind of way. I think that's one of the things I can say.
Yeah.
That's correct. I'm just gonna caveat into this comment. So definitely not. Francis says, I'd say morals and values, even though you spelt it wrong and you said my English is not great. Definitely not, Francis. What kind of spelling?
You were waiting for that one, yeah? You were waiting on that one.
Okay, it says values. It says, look, I can't give an example, but I'm sure you've had moments you see something and subconsciously think, subconsciously thought, I can't get away with that in Malawi. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. I think it's something that we still uphold, and it's something that we are grateful for our upbringing, our parents, and all of that. I think family structure, all these things, them things have stayed within time, and these are the things we uphold, and they make us better people. I believe, they make us better people in life. So yeah, absolutely, definitely, Francis. Bloom there with the 100s. I don't know who you were. 100 and who. 100 and who. Okay. Hey, listen, the English is not balancing. What's wrong with you? So Bloom says
It's not balancing.
it's not balancing. Bloom says Vanessa, past tense of beat is bet. Deal with it. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
You get it? What is it? Beaten? What is it?
Beaten?
You're
Beaten?
trash. You're trash.
Is it beaten? What is it? Is it beaten?
No, it's beat. It's beat. Past tense of beat is beat. Anyway.
Sir.
Anyway, beaten. All right, this is not an English lesson. You see, we're proving a point here. Western culture. So Nala, last but not least, how are we still able to identify these cultures, man?
I think the same way Francis said it, just through morals and values. The family structure thing that you touched on, like, we are so caring as Africans, okay? When we think about our families, and I'll give you an example of this, right? I have a friend of mine that every time I would send money back home, it's not that they need it, but it's just to say thank you or get a little something, spoil yourself. And that friend would be like, why do you have the need to do that? They already have everything that they've got. But to me, it's such a huge thing for me to give back to my family. It's such a huge thing for me to say, you know what? My sister's got her little kids. I'm going to send over a little money. She can take them out for lunch or something. So I think the value, the respect, like Francis said, certain things that you look at and you're like, damn, that kid got away with that. I wouldn't be able to do that back in the day. My mom would kill me. So yeah, it goes back to the respect, the morals, and just the family structure.
Okay. Yeah, this is good. It's actually good. Some of the things we have adopted. Another example I'll give you, apart from values, is even the way we dress. Even though we have adopted the Western side of it, we've put an African spin to the way we dress. You know,
True.
so
True.
even though we've gone, hey, the West is good, we're like, hey, but no.
I
Like
can't
Obi,
wear that.
like Obi was saying, hey, below the knees, you know, or put African print and all these things. So yeah, those are some of the things we have adopted. I mean, the values thing everyone has touched on as well, which is good. I was actually thinking of something, but I forgot. But anyway, there are a lot of things that we are upholding, as Africans. Actually, I've thought of it. So I, for one, like for my tribe, so I think me and Ovi are the same tribe. So the tribe that we're from still believe in natural medicine, so when you're sick, normally my tribe uses natural medicine, so it's something that they've been doing for years, like it's just, so things like that. For example, you always find that random Nigerian that says, this will make you perform in bed, my friend. Just
this one is power. This one is power, my brother.
Put the water in there, you'll be fine. So you see, we already had our own technology, so if we advance this technology, I'm telling you, man, we'd have been giving everybody medicine. You get me? But yeah. We've got so many other technologies, fam. Do you know what I mean? I mean, just look at our African women. They've got technology everywhere. Just telling you now. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Okay, sorry. What do you mean, sir?
You get it?
Explain yourself.
You don't get it. Forget about it.
Aloe vera. So somebody else says aloe vera. What do you mean explain myself? If you didn't get
aloe
it,
vera. It's not even aloe. In Africa, it's aloe vera. Aloe vera.
Wasn't that an Asian thing though, aloe vera?
It is. It's an Asian thing.
Okay. I mean, there was a lot of things like crafting stuff. I've seen people make stuff from the same plant, like furniture and stuff. I've seen people do that, but I didn't know about this aloe vera thing. Okay. That's a great point. I swap all my medicine with natural alternatives where I can. You see, so yeah, how many times you hear of how many times do you hear of a traditional doctor who is using natural medicine? Do you know what I mean? Even in movies, in westernized movies, you still hear of these doctors that are still using natural medicine. So yeah, there's some things you just cannot get rid of. Something.
It's also even the traditional thing where some cultures will have you selling cows to get the bride. That's still happening till today.
It's still there. I mean, now they're sort of quoting it as, it's a thank you to parents. So dowry.
Yeah.
Thank you to the parents. But no.
Or this thing where when like a family member is getting married and everybody contributes to that marriage. I mean, to the wedding. Yeah. So like those things are still happening.
I think that happens in the West though. Like everyone.
They do it. I mean, they do it here, but they just do it in a more
in a little bit of a different way. Yeah.
Like basically,
they do it with like gifts, no?
No,
we do it with money.
Like here, they do the money, but you know the way in our culture, the wedding where they put a beat and you go wah. Yeah? Here I would have actually found out, and I didn't know this. When you're going to a wedding, if you are two of you invited, your minimum in an envelope is €100, so 50 a head.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Definitely not, Francis.
Definitely not, Francis says, MP. How many cows is next? Oh,
nada. It's all up to you. It's all up to you. Yeah.
That's out of pocket.
Buizo. If you're smart, you keep quiet and walk away from that one.
Just run away. Just go.
Definitely not, Francis. That's out of pocket, fam. Out of pocket.
I shouldn't find you. Okay.
But like even in Africa, I know some cultures even. Before you go and talk to the parents, you have to pay first. That is, they call it it's a grabagama. They can't talk to you.
So it's
before you talk. Just
There's
open your
always
mouth.
something.
You need to give them something first. Then they'll talk to you, and you have to talk to them about their daughter.
Diamond
They might
doesn't know
even
that
say
stuff.
no. They
Yeah,
might even say no.
yes, they can even say no. Before they price their daughter, for you to talk to them, you have to say something first.
See, left.
What's with people in the comments today?
Definitely not fair. And you know what? We're loving these comments, though. We're loving these comments. Okay. Listen, we need to wrap this up. So, guys, I hope you've taken something from this. We hope actually you've taken something from this. You know, was it beneficial? Was it not? What things do you still uphold in your culture? What things are beneficial to you in your culture? Do you think that we could have maybe been a bit more developed, or maybe even been a big player in the world if we weren't colonized? You know, if we stood down, you know what I mean? So said 50 ahead. I need to get married. Okay. We've got a gentleman. We've got a gentleman named Haha. He's looking for an African woman.
He's looking for an African woman.
On Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter. So, guys, we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys contributing in the comments. We really, really love it when you guys help us with the topic as well, because we are not the subject matter experts. We're just a group of people having a discussion with you guys in the comments, man. So, guys, I'm going to say this again, all right? If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification button, all right? Yeah, so because soon enough this is just going to become an exclusive club. So if you're not subscribed, it's going to be exclusive.
Get in there
just for the VIPs, you know what I'm saying?
VIP.
Get in there.
All right, man. All right, guys, listen, we really appreciate it, guys. We hope you have a good evening, have a good weekend, enjoy yourselves, watch this back, comment, like, whatever, just do whatever you want, man. Enjoy yourselves. So yeah, it's been Nala, it's been Paso, it's been OV2 Nice and One Tally, and we are 5 rounds, guys. Take it.
Skibbity pum pum. It's the